My name is Chef Ski, James Woroneski, and this is Cooking with Ski.
Let's go ahead and get started. Typically you would use a green head of cabbage. For Halloween, I've chosen to go ahead and use a purple head of cabbage, providing a Halloween theme. What you want to do is go ahead and use your knife to go and remove the core of the cabbage to allow the leaves to soften and be able to pull out easily. Now that we have the core cut out, the next step is to go ahead and make our filling. And generally I like to go ahead and have my ingredients pre-measured out, so it makes it a whole lot easier to go ahead and make up your filling. You want to go ahead and hand mix your ingredients into all together. I think this is a meatball where you don't want to over mix it, because you're going to make a more tougher filling. You want to go ahead and get everything pulled together and just get it mixed enough to pull together. Now go ahead and put your cabbage in and go ahead and blanch until the leaves start to soften and pull away. As you can see, I used a steel pot to keep the cabbage submerged. Now they've been in for about 5 to 6 minutes. Looks like the leaves are beginning to go ahead and separate. So I'm getting ready to go ahead and pull these cabbage out of the boiling water. Use something that is like a, you can go ahead and grab it because it's going to be heavy. It's going to have a lot of water on it. I use what's called a spider to go ahead and reach in and pull up the cabbage. It's going to be full of hot water, so be careful. Remember, at this point it is hot, so be careful. Use a fork to start gently pulling your cabbage leaves apart, so you go ahead and get to the leaves to find out which ones you want to use. Take your time, they will come apart, and then you can go ahead and move to the next step, and we'll be there in just a moment. What I like to go ahead and do now that I got the leaves all put out is there is a thick rib that we want to go ahead and trim out. So if you have a very sharp paring knife, go ahead and trim that thick rib out to make it easier for the leaves to go ahead and roll up once you put the meat filling into it. I'll go ahead and do a couple more, and they'll go ahead and finish cutting these ribs out offline. Now when you're going ahead and put your measurements in as far as your meat, I'm using a 4-ounce scoop. That's going to be typically what you're going to put into a leaf. It is approximately about 4 ounces of filling. You want to go ahead and put your scoop in, kind of form out your filling a little bit. You're going to wrap from the end, pull one flap over, another leaf over, and you're forming a envelope. Is actually what you're going to be doing. Again, one more time. Go ahead and pull your leaf out. Take your filling, place it on in the center. Start rolling forward from the rib. Bring one fold in. Let me get it right this time. One fold in, flap over. Second flap over, get your envelope and roll on up. And you're going to continue to do this for the rest of your filling until you have no more filling left. This is where I differ. This is where I prefer to do it the European style, where we use a Dutch oven or a cauldron instead of a casserole dish in a single layer. What you're seeing now with me is I am laying a layer of cabbage leaves with some diced tomatoes. I'm going to go ahead and place the cabbage leaves in. Once I have a layer of cabbage leaves placed in, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to place the cabbage rolls right on top. And I'm going to keep layering this until I have all the cabbage rolls filled up in my Dutch oven. As I continue to layer through this, I'll be adding in the diced tomatoes. I'll be doing rendered onions to add more flavor to what we're actually doing is braising. I'll be braising this. So I'm going to be adding my onions in. I'm going to be doing another layer of tomatoes. And again, I'll be seasoning each layer on up to develop these sauce that we're going to have at the end. Now that we have all the layers built up in our Dutch oven, it's time to make the broth. And once you go ahead and have the broth made up, Go ahead and pour it over top of your cabbage. Once you have that done, go ahead and put your cover on top of your Dutch oven. You want to have your oven preheated to 350 degrees. Make sure your oven is preheated. Go ahead and put your Dutch oven in to your oven. Go ahead and bake for 1 hour. Basically going to be braising. When you have it done, we'll be right on back and I'll show you what it looks like. Our Golabki has been now in the oven for over an hour, so it's time for the reveal. You're going to go ahead and see that the top of it is all wilted and everything, but the cabbage, as we're starting to pull this back, the cabbage rolls, as we start to pull away some of this, and this is really good, so don't throw it away, because we're actually going to use it. No, all this is flavor. Now the rolls, they are down here. You can see as I'm pulling one out. These are very tender, very flavorful cabbage rolls. As I pull this away, you see that broth, very flavorful. Doing Golabki this way, they are so juicy, so flavorful. Give it a try and see what you think.